November was such a good reading month for me. I read a total of 11 books, started 3 that I didn't finish. We have some new favorites, a couple surprises, so let's get right into my November reading wrap up. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Favorites Flavor. My name is Favor. I'm so excited to see you guys today. I hope you guys like this video and I hope you subscribe if you haven't already. Today's video is so exciting for me because I had such a good reading month in November. But before we get right into it, I'm going to give you guys my November reading stats, and this is something that I definitely want to incorporate into my monthly reading wrap-ups, as I have that information from Storygraph. So all of the pictures and all of what I'm saying I got from Storygraph. If you guys are interested in downloading it too, I find it a lot better than Goodreads. I read 11 books and it says I have 2,433 pages read, as well as 5.5 hours of audiobook listened. So that's pretty good for me. I had 3 unfinished books that I will talk about towards the end of the video, and my average rating 4.07 stars, which is pretty solid. That's anything above the 4 stars, especially in a month where I read that much, feel like meant I read a good amount of good books. Okay, my top genres are romance and literary fiction, which is not surprising. Probably like my top genres in general, that, and then I think contemporary fiction, I would say. Me and Kindle, we were together real bad this month because I have 36% physical but 55% digital, which was all on my Kindle. It says 9% audio because I had one book that I listened to from start to finish on audiobook. The rest of my other books, physical or digital, some of them I did do some immersive reading if I had access to audiobook, but that was the only book where I listened to the whole thing from start to finish. The vibes of the books that I read are emotional, reflective, and sad. And the most surprising stat to me in this lineup is every single author I read this month was new to me. So that's pretty exciting that I'm reading more new authors. So now let's get right into review and all the books that I read. I'm gonna do something different this month. I'm gonna start with my 2 favorite books. My top book of the month of November was, can you comment down below if you know what the book is? Because if you've watched my channel, at least the last couple videos, I've talked about this book so much, and that is Love by the Book by Jessica George. It's an arc that gets released next year. I want to say February or March it gets released. So excited to get my hands on the physical copy. It's a book about friendship. It's a book about platonic romance. I feel like Love by the Book, what was talked about in that book feels like it could be like a non-fiction book about friendships, but she put it in a fiction way. Honestly, I don't know how to like not talk about that book and not spoil things, but if you're someone in your mid-20s to like mid-30s and you either want to learn more about friendships, or you're currently in a friendship group, or you've had friendship issues, that sort of stuff, I highly recommend you pick up that book. Jessica George is a phenomenal writer. If you love the likes of Bolu Babalola, you would love this book too. I'm just saying. I loved it so much. If you can't tell, it was a 5-star. So my next favorite book that I really enjoyed in the month of November is Hail Mary by Fumi Feto. This is a book that you would see make an appearance in my reading vlog that comes out a week after this vlog, and it's one that I'm currently filming right now. That's why I'm saying it. I literally just got the physical copy from Book Outlet. I enjoy this book so much, and it's not even, I believe it has like really low amount of ratings on Goodreads. It's a short story collections. If you guys don't know me, I love short story collections, and this one is one that's like authentically Nigerian. I enjoy the fact that the author herself narrated this book, so you could tell like she knows how to pronounce the Nigerian words, the Yoruba words, stuff like that. Because one of my biggest pet peeves with one of the books, I think, was Nearly All the Men in Lagos Are Mad by Damilare Kuku. The audiobook pissed me off so much with how the lady was narrating it, but this was just so good. A really big surprise. It put me out of a reading slump. I believe I rated it 4.5 stars, but rounded up to a 5 stars. So good, and it's so small too. Please pick it up if you're interested in short story collections by Nigerian authors, and that's a video idea that I think I will be filming about this month. So now we're gonna basically go out of order. I'm gonna go with the books that I have the physical copy of first, and then go on talk about the books that I read on my Kindle. So the next book I read is a poetry book. It's called Black Girl Your Atlas by Renee Watson, and this book has opened me to another like genre of books that are like poetry books by Black and people of color. I enjoy this book, even though it's like YA-ish. I feel like this is a book that if any Black woman of any age could benefit from this. It's pretty small, and the artwork in it, like, this is like a random page. Look at the artwork. like so beautiful. And I love the like quality of the book. So I really hope if you want to get it, I would say get the hardcover just so you know you can preserve the art part of the book. It says a thoughtful celebration of Black girlhood by author and poet Renee Watson. Black girl, your atlas. You know the way back, the way forward. Black girl, your atlas. The way no one expected you to be fulfillment of prophecy, but it is you always who holds the word up. This is definitely a book that if you have any teenage Black girl in your life, this would be a really good book to get for them. So I rated this book a 4.25 stars, basically like a 4 stars, mostly because again it's more YA-ish, and then 2 as obviously Renee Watson speaking more from like a Black American's point of view, which some of which I couldn't really relate to. Still good nonetheless. So the next book I want to talk about that I read in the month of November is Blessings by Chukwuebuka Ibe. Basically talks about what it means to be gay or like be someone in the LGBTQ plus community in Nigeria. I rated this book at 3.25 stars, mostly because I can't really say I enjoyed the whole experience of reading the book. I truly wanted to like it more than I did. There is 3 parts to this book if I remember correctly, and it just felt like I was reading different books, plus the whole aspect about Obiefuna, his life, and then also his whole mom situation at home. That was like a little confusing, but I feel like also the book kind of like picked up towards the end when he met the older man. At that point, it actually started talking about the whole law that went into effect. I think it was between 2012 and 2014, banning gay marriages and how they were abused and arrested in Nigeria. So that was really eye-opening. I really enjoyed that part of the book, but I feel like the book as a whole, I didn't enjoy it, but still a great book. And I don't know of many Nigerian or African books that explore sexuality like this book does. So it's still a great book, still one that I'm happy to like have on my shelf, and I would recommend if you're someone looking for a book like that. So the next book I read was actually the first book I read in November, and that's Maame by Jessica George. Oh, by the way, I didn't even mention it when I mentioned Love by the Book. I have a whole video about this book and Love by the Book. It was basically like a Jessica George video. So if you want more of my thoughts on this book and Love by the Book, I will link the video up above if you guys are interested. This book is about Maame. Her name is not Maame, her name is Maddie. So this book discusses Maddie's life. Maddie is a 25-year-old female living in London, and she's the primary caretaker of her father that has Parkinson's disease. Her mom isn't shit, her brother isn't shit, and she's basically have had to like put her whole life on hold. So when she finally gets a chance to like move out, she's like a super late bloomer. I believe I rated this book at 4 stars. This was a label book, so I'm definitely not trying to be very harsh, but the whole aspect of her like, Google, does being bisexual mean this and that? Google, what does this mean? What is he trying to say? And it's just like, yeah, I see how that can be true. Like, I mean, I go on Google to search up stuff, but I feel like those parts of the book could have been reduced a little bit. I didn't want to hear too much about that. Like, give me something else. But either way, I really enjoyed this book because, like I said in that video, I saw my parts of myself in Maddie. It just felt good to read about. Like Jessica George, she's definitely an author by author for me. Like, she just writes my kind of books. She writes about stuff that I'm familiar with. It's like she knows me and I know her. Like, I'm not saying like exactly, but she just writes about the type of stuff that I would be interested in, and I can't wait to see more of what she releases in the future. So the next book that I read in the month of November was one of the books that I talked about in my video about 8 popular books that I haven't read, and that is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I finally read this book. I got the audiobook from my library on Libby, and I finally was like, you know what, let me get to it. And I rated this book a 4.25 stars. This was definitely a solid book. I think all I said in my review was solid storytelling and book. The only thing I didn't exactly care for was the whole relationship between Evelyn Hugo and Monique, the reporter. Like, the whole setup just for that to be the relationship, I feel like it was a little anticlimactic, but I will not take it away from her writing. She definitely he wrote the book like it could have been a movie. You could see this book becoming a movie. So solid storytelling, solid book. So now I'm going to talk about all of the books that I read on my Kindle. So there's about 3 or 4 of them that were my digital reads of this month, and I had a good time. So the first one I read was Body Language by Netra Antoinette. It's book 2 in the Mind, Body, and Soul series. If you watched my November TBR, my plan was to read Body Count, but somehow I downloaded Body Language on my Kindle. Basically, I started reading Body Language before I figured out that I was reading the second book. But the good thing is it follows 2 different female characters, although I know that you meet them in the first book, but honestly I didn't feel like I missed anything, and eventually I would get a chance to read Body Count. But Body Language is about Neva and Kendricks. Neva is a dancer. Basically, she works at like strip clubs, for lack of better words, but she's someone that she's had to like struggle through life. And honestly, this book, the cliffhanger left on, I was just like, why would you do that, man? Why would you do that? Eventually, I read the next book that follows. It's book 3 in the series, but it's basically, I feel like she could have called it book 2.5. So Body Language, book 2. So for Body Language 1, I rated it at 3.75. Like, it was a solid book. You could tell that Neva was the player. She didn't let any man play her. She knew who she was. She's had to like, be the mother to her siblings because her mom was like caught on drugs for reasons that you'll find out in the second book. But honestly, this was such like a good novella. Since then, I've been on a roll with my novellas. They've kept me like still interested in reading because it's so hard, especially with how busy I was. I really couldn't sit down and read a book that was like 300, 400, 500 pages, especially if you're not giving me a plot. It just feels like I'm wasting my time. So book 2, which I went to look up, you can get like book 1 and 2 together as like a physical copy, and that's how I feel like I would plan to get it, and I wouldn't mind having the physical copy on my shelf. I rated book 2 at 4.5 stars. It says so much trauma in this book, so be warned. I really enjoyed this book so much. I finally was happy to get the ending to Neva's story. I can't wait to read Riva's story in the book 1 and eventually Chloe's story whenever Netra releases it. Honestly, I don't want to tell you much about this book. Just go into it blind. If you like it, you'll know pretty early on. If you don't, you wouldn't. Okay, so that's just anything I say much about this book could give it away. So the next book that I read on my Kindle was Ready or Not, a slow burn novella from the Nape series by Olive Winter. I rated it 4 stars, but if I was reading the book alone, it'll probably be 3.5 stars. It got a 4 stars from me because the music playlist that comes with this book, it's on Spotify, and I was just like, man, thank you for putting me on like 2 or 3 songs, and some of the songs I already like were in the playlist. I was like, this is a solid playlist. The one thing that made me increase the rating was the playlist, as well as the recipes that came on the back of the book. Honestly, I'm still hoping that maybe one day I'll get to like bake or cook those empanadas with the recipes she gave in the book. Those 2 things alone increased the rating of this book by 0.5 point. Yeah, fired somebody else, not me. The book itself was good. This is something I have to remind myself, especially as someone that's now reading more novellas, is I cannot expect the same level of intricacy with a novella as with like a full-fledged book, right? Because most novellas are like 150, 175 pages, so like there's so much. It takes a good author to be able to like give you so much and not feeling you wanting more in a novella. The thing is, this book had 2 tropes that I really didn't care for, and that was miscommunication and instant love. Either way, it still worked out. It was very fun to read, and I feel like I found myself wanting more. Something that I saw a review about was at the end of the book, the author had like a link to her Patreon if you wanted to know more about their story. And I'm just like, I'm not paying for no Patreon, okay? Like, you're going to release the book if you want to, but I'm not paying for no Patreon right now. So I could see how that could be like a deal breaker for some people. It's not really a deal breaker for me because, I mean, I enjoyed the book. I'm going to move on to the next book. And I believe the last book that I completed in the month of November was a last minute book, and that was Sweet Potato Kisses, a Friendsgiving romance. And this is something that I was so excited to like find out about, because I believe I found out about it the same day I filmed my December TBR, and I was talking about, how I wanted more holiday books that wasn't about Christmas, right? Because I read the Kwanzaa book, and I just found out about the Diwali book that I planned to read in December, but this one was about Thanksgiving. So I was like, you know what, even though it was like a day or 2 after Thanksgiving, I was just so happy to like still read a book about Thanksgiving. This one is like a Friendsgiving, so like you already know I'm more of like a friendship relationship situation right now. At least that's the bubble I'm in. I rated this book at 3.75 stars. It's a really short and cute novella. I really enjoyed the banter and like the Friendsgiving aspect of it. And the romance was pretty cute too. This is also a no spice romance. So if you're someone that enjoys that, please pick this book up. So now we're gonna talk about honestly, it's actually 4 books that I started and I didn't finish. So the first one is All About Love by Bell Hooks. I've talked about this book since literally my Dollar Tree shopping video. It's been weeks. I like paused it. Like, it's not a DNF. It's a book for my book club, so I do plan on, finishing it. I will finish it. I went through something this past week that just made me feel like I really wanted to finish this book because, just learning more about how love is missing in a lot of our lives, and it's just sad. So this is a book that I definitely will finish in December. I would hate to take this book into the next year without finishing it. You guys probably know my thoughts on this book based on all the videos that I've mentioned it in. The other book that I started and I finished in December was the 7 Days a Kwanzaa holiday story. I guess I'll just talk about it here. 3.25 stars. I said this is a mature and wholesome romance. I really enjoyed the principles of Kwanzaa that were sprinkled throughout the book. Me personally, I found the book a little boring and a little linear, but not a bad book anyway, and it's just I was happy to read a book about holidays that was not about Christmas, if that makes sense. And then, if you guys already knew, I talked about this in my December TBR. I'm a little apprehensive that I'm actually going to finish this in December, and that's Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Believe it or not, I'm already like 14% into this book, and I don't know, it's not a DNF, I want to prioritize other books right now, like the books that I'm currently reading for the reading vlog you guys will see after this, and a bunch of other books. I still might get to this in December. If not, it's still a book that I want to read because I already bought the second book to the series, so I have to read it. But that's pretty much it with this reading wrap up. I've yapped a lot. Honestly, it was just an exciting month, and I don't know what my total number of books are right now. I think I'm on like 47 or something, but December is gonna be, although December has started out a little weird because I started out with DNF in the last book I just read. We'll see, but I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you guys watch out for more of the videos that are going to be coming this month, because some weeks I might post 3 times, so be on the lookout. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye.